Massive train derailed Friday, 20 of them carrying hazardous materials as flight in northeastern Ohio.
The evacuation order is in place for anyone within a mile radius of the crash site.
These aren't storm clouds. This is the fucking shit! The fucking shit they burn off in East Palestine! This is not fucking storm clouds! Look at it!
This is horrible! I got arrested because I was trying to do a live report about what people need to know.
Officials are claiming that the air and water are safe. Residents say they can still smell chlorine. They've complained about their eyes watering when they go outside, and one woman says the noxious air killed her chickens.
Out of nowhere, he just started coughing really hard and just shut down and went very fast.
Look at all these fucking crows. I'm not kidding. This is within 10 miles of East Palestine.
If you have not evacuated, please leave the area.
The mainstream media has been lying about the Ohio train incident, or at least that's what a lot of people would like you to believe. Recently, or should I say about 2 weeks ago on February 3rd, in Ohio, specifically East Palestine, a train derailed from its track and it caused a giant pileup of about 20 plus to 50 plus cars that came off of the track. As a result of this, there were a number of cars, around 20, that had chemical products on there that are very bad for the environment and could lead to an ecological crisis. However, an entire 11 days later, today being Valentine's Day, we still don't know the full details of the train derailment. This has led to a lot of people suspecting that the government has been involved with this train derailment in some sense and have been making ties to people and officials like Pete Buttigieg, who remained silent about the entire incident despite having ample time and ample platforms to speak about it. There was also a train derailment that happened in Texas that resulted in at least one person dying and also contained chemical substances in some of the cars that were attached to the train. People are making a giant fuss about this, and rightfully so, because of the fact that these trains and their derailment and the improper handling of these accidents have caused a massive impact on the people surrounding them. For instance, in Ohio, in East Palestine, around 5 miles away from where the accident happened, and some even reporting that 200 miles away in the completely different parts of town and the completely different states have been feeling effects of this accident. People have reported acid rain, people have reported that there are fish floating through the rivers, and that the water and soil in Ohio are contaminated by this natural disaster. Or not so natural disaster.
Well and groundwater are safe. However, after this couple saw dead fish in this creek that you're looking at, they're deciding to not take any chances.
There was hundreds.
Russell Murphy is referring to the fish now belly up in Leslie Run. He and his wife noticed them last night, barely 48 hours after the fiery derailment 5 miles away.
This is huge environmental effects.
That's now one of many concerns the EPA now faces.
The impact of the fish, yes, there was a impact to those. However, the levels as we have seen it are protective to groundwater. We are aware there are some wells along that for residential wells.
Environmental cleanup crews were at and actually in that water today. So are these booms, which are used to catch and stop anything that shouldn't be flowing here, or into water wells, which Murphy uses for just about everything.
So it does beg the question, is the authority involved? Is the government involved? Are there people who are currently doing this on purpose, launching an ecological attack on its own people while shadowing it behind mystery balloons, presidential figures, and controversies about fancy games like the Super Bowl? Now, if you're a conspiracy theorist, kind of like myself, you will know that in our history and throughout history, media has used things like national stories about aliens or presidential elections or sports games to mask the reality of what is happening around us, which has led some people to believe that the recent spottings of the 4 balloons that were shot down and the entire demonic nature of the Super Bowl halftime performance that was done by Rihanna are all ruses done to cover up and hide the truth behind what is exactly going on. Our government is poisoning our own people right in front of us, and they are hiding it behind these national events that they want you to leech onto. They want you to hook, line, and sinker into as much as you can so that they can take your attention away from the fact that our own citizens are being poisoned. It is reported that around 5%, maybe even 10% of the United States population is completely dependent on the farmland that exists in Ohio that produces things like our milk, our chickens, our eggs, and all of these things are at risk now with the soil being contaminated, water streams and wells being contaminated. There are massive implications of the Ohio East Palestine incident, and yet for some reason we still don't know the full details of the accident, despite it happening over 11 days ago. What were the chemicals that were involved in this accident? Well, I'll tell you. The cars contained chemicals such as ethylhexyl acrylate, ethylene glycol monobutyl, and isobutylene. Now, of course, I have butchered all of these names because I'm not a scientist and I don't really know how to pronounce these words. However, I can tell you that things like vinyl chloride and butyl acrylate are highly flammable, highly toxic chemicals because I've done the research into them. And it turns out that specifically vinyl chloride is something that at a specific pp can cause you to develop cancers. It is a carcinogen. It is something that will cause a pseudo radiation poisoning that can have lasting effects on not only you but your children. And if you're not horrified about this, and if you don't feel that there's something crazy going on here, well then I don't really know what to tell you. Because all in all, this incident could have been prevented, especially considering this video that was released that showed that about 20 miles away from the site of the accident, they could see sparks and flames coming from the wheels of this very same train.
This video, obtained by our news partners at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, was taken by a security camera at an equipment manufacturing plant in Salem, Ohio, some 20 miles from East Palestine. You can see what appear to be sparks or flames under one of the cars as it passes the plant. The NTSB referenced the video at a news conference earlier this week.
We have obtained 2 videos which show preliminary indications of mechanical issues on one of the rail car axles.
That second video came from a processing plant a mile down the track, also in Salem. In front of that plant is a hot box detector, which scans the temperature of the axles as the train passes and sounds an alert if they're overheated.
The crew did receive an alarm from a wayside defect detector shortly before the derailment, indicating a mechanical issue. Then an emergency brake application initiated.
The NTSB says there was an alert, but it is not known if it came from the hot box detector in Salem or the next one down the track 20 miles away in East Palestine, where that derailment happened. And if the alert wasn't triggered when the train passed Salem, why not? I spoke today with a retired Norfolk Southern engineer, Scott Wilcox, who lives in Avonmore. How would that person know there was an issue?
Generally speaking, after the length of the train has passed over the detector, it will tell you there are no problems found.
The NTSB has obtained the train's data recorder and audio recordings. Those are being analyzed at an NTSB lab in Washington, D.C.
So it begs the question that a lot of people are asking. Why are we so occupied about Elon Musk and how he's running Twitter? Why are we so fixated on Rihanna's halftime performance? Or the shiny balloons that are appearing in the sky that apparently come from China, when our own land is seemingly attacking us, our own government is seemingly poisoning its people? What is our fixation here? What's the end game? And what is the end goal? And are we able to think critically enough to analyze what's happening around us and do something about it? As a collective, as the United States population, can we gather and understand that there is a lot going on that we don't understand and that will not be made to make us understand? They will not make these stories out to make them easily understandable or even the facts easily findable. As we see, a news reporter was arrested because they tried to report on this very same incident in Ohio.
Oh, sir.
This is bad. Stop.
I am on the ground. What are you talking about?
Stop.
So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that the American people are under attack? Do you believe that we all in all have no way of solving this and that we're sort of meeting the end of our time? Or do you, like many other Americans, think that it's time that we take up arms, we unite, and we fight against the powers that may be, and we fight against the poisoning of our own people, of our families, of our food, of our land? It is time. It is time to unite. It is time to put differences aside and to find a common ground here. Because if not, we will continue to be blindsided and our attention will continue to be diverted with silly things like halftime games, performances at the Grammys or Emmys or whatever the hell it was that Sam Smith did, and Twitter drama. Until next time, until the next video, dreamers, be careful.